be sure to check out Rob Plays. There you can hang out with me while we play video games and talk about life stuff. So having released a couple of videos criticizing some of the decisions made by Marvel with regards to the all-new, all-different lineup, I wanted to take some time to highlight what I consider to be some of their best decisions. And in this video, we're going to be focusing on Riri Williams, the new Iron Man. So having been around since March of 1963, Tony Stark's legacy within the comic landscape is huge. As one of the founding members of the Avengers and having had incredibly well-written stories like Demon in a Bottle by David Michelinie and Bob Layton, Tony Stark had stood the test of time as one of the most important characters of Marvel's lineup. While comic fans knew him extremely well based on his long-running solo series and time on the Avengers team, as well as his own smaller ancillary teams like ForceWorks, Stark didn't really come to the limelight of non-comic readers until the Civil War event and the Iron Man film. As a result, the history of Stark saw transformations designed to bring his character closer in line with how he was viewed both in the movies and in the eyes of the general public. That said, where Tom Taylor's superior Iron Man was looked at as the jumping-off platform for how Stark would be depicted in the post-Secret Wars Marvel landscape, through a combination of social media and general discussions, fans made it quite clear that because the superior Iron Man storyline was largely being ignored in the post-Secret Wars landscape, the character of Tony Stark wasn't coming out as all new and all different. Instead, his existing history was simply being rehashed. To this end, various fans, and I count myself among that number, look to the overall Iron Man stories as yet another example of Marvel's failure to live up to the all-new, all-different brand. However, this perception, at least in my mind, has been adjusted with the introduction of Riri Williams. Covered during an interview with Time magazine titled "Marvel's New Iron Man is a Black Woman," Williams creator Brian Michael Bendis had stated that when he took over the Iron Man title, he had looked back to his time working on a television show that never went to syndication. As he explained, the plot involved a young black woman whose life was immersed in violence who in turn elevated herself and attended college. Considering this to be his definition of a superhero in the real world, Bendis retooled the concept into Riri Williams. First mentioned in passing during Invincible Iron Man issue number 1, Bendis had teased Williams by having Stark return to developing new forms of the Iron Man armor after his previous models had been duplicated by an MIT student using a box of scraps. Following this, her character remained entirely absent from the Iron Man title until issue number 7. And coming out of the road to Civil War II and centering on an undercover Stark attempting to locate and subdue an inhuman named Tomo, who possessed the power to control technology using her mind, the official in-comic introduction of Williams came as a kind of backup feature within the final pages of the Invincible Iron Man title between issues 7 and 11. Establishing Williams as a 15-year-old with a genius-level intellect equivalent to Tony Stark, the crossover between the two was virtually non-existent save for Williams developing an Iron Man suit of her own, which lacked the traditional arc reactor, but also took on a more Japanese animation feel to it in terms of design. Following this, Williams' exploits were limited to exploring the capabilities of her newly designed suit, and even going so far as to act in Stark's stead due to his well-publicized absence. This in conjunction with Marvel advertising their Marvel Now lineup in October depicting Williams as the cover character for the new Iron Man series had given way to the notion of Williams taking over the position under the blessing of Stark himself. And so the question is this: why does Riri Williams highlight everything right with comics? Because she's all new and all different, living up to the very essence of what Marvel's all new, all different rebranding was designed to be. The problem with characters like X-23, Miles Morales, Jane Foster, and others is that they don't fall in line with this ideology. X-23 was designed to be a literal clone of Wolverine, albeit a young girl. Spider-Gwen, Cindy Moon, and Miles Morales all received their powers from a spider bite. Jane Foster became Thor after picking up Mjolnir. Amadeus Cho absorbed the essence of the Hulk from Banner, and Sam Alexander put on a Nova Corps helmet. In addition to this, all the characters I've just listed are being touted as heroes taking over existing legacy characters in the Marvel Now line, but none of the characters are new, save for Cindy Moon and Spider-Gwen. Jane Foster, Miles, X-23, and all the rest have been around for years, bouncing between stories with Marvel having no idea where to put them or how to make them important. Williams does not fall into this category. Is she smart like Tony Stark? Sure, but that hardly makes her a copy of him. You know how I know that? Beast, Hank McCoy, Reed Richards, Apocalypse, Mr. Sinister, Doctor Doom, Peter Parker, Adam Brashear, Black Panther, and Amadeus Cho. These are only a handful of characters ranked among Marvel's smartest beings on Earth, and they all have a level of intelligence that rivals and exceeds Tony Stark, and they all have their own individual personalities and concepts that make them unique. In addition to this, Bendis is not paying special attention to the skin color of Williams. Yeah, she's black, but she's not part of the all-black superhero team, and there's not one reference in the comics regarding her skin color and how it impacts diversity. All that comes from a combination of clickbait news articles and fans who can't deal with change. Now, will Williams be relegated to the position of Stark's sidekick? Possibly, but with the comics now following the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Robert Downey Jr. expected to walk away from his role after the next several films, not only do I expect to see Williams remain Iron Man in the comics, I actually expect her to be introduced into the movies as part of Phase 4 following Robert Downey Jr.'s departure. With that being said, we're going to bring this video to an end, and this is just my little rant, my little spiel on everything that I think is right with Marvel Comics, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.